Have you ever wondered what would happen to your finances if you suddenly lost your spouse after decades of marriage? The truth is, becoming a widow after 65 can be financially devastating in ways most women never anticipate. Many women, who were comfortable for years, suddenly find themselves struggling with money problems they never saw coming. What's most alarming is that these financial traps aren't complex investment mistakes or risky ventures. They're simple, everyday decisions that seem harmless until it's too late. Some widows discover these pitfalls early and take action, protecting their financial independence and security for years to come. Others realize the danger only after their savings have dwindled, their options have narrowed, and their peace of mind has vanished. In this video, we'll cover 6 critical financial traps that catch widows unprepared after 65. Insights I wish someone had shared with me before my husband passed away. Stay with me until the end, because the last financial trap is one that almost no one talks about, yet it's the one that can silently drain your retirement security when you're most vulnerable. Understanding these dangers now could save you from years of financial stress and uncertainty later. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you enjoy this video, please type 1 in the comments. If you don't like it, type 0 in the comments to let me know, so I can make better videos for you. Now let's get started. Number 1. The joint account shock. One of the most immediate financial shocks widows face happens right at the time when they're least prepared to handle it, during the first days and weeks of grief. What many women don't realize is that when your spouse dies, joint bank accounts are often frozen temporarily, sometimes without warning. Even accounts you've managed for decades can suddenly become inaccessible exactly when you need them most, for funeral expenses, medical bills, and everyday living costs. This happens because banks need to verify the surviving spouse's legal right to the money and ensure estate taxes are addressed. While this might seem like a mere inconvenience, the timing can be devastating. Imagine grieving your husband while simultaneously discovering you can't access your own money to pay for his funeral or even your monthly bills. Many widows find themselves in a financial limbo, forced to borrow money from family or friends, or worse, using high-interest credit cards just to get by until the accounts are released. This is precisely what happened to Janet, a 72-year-old widow who had been married for 48 years. When her husband Thomas passed away suddenly, their joint checking and savings accounts were frozen for nearly 3 weeks. She had to borrow $12,000 from her daughter to cover funeral costs and basic expenses, creating tension in their relationship during an already difficult time. The solution to this trap is simple, but must be implemented before a crisis occurs. Every couple should maintain at least one individual account in each spouse's name, with enough money to cover 3 months of expenses. Make sure these accounts are properly documented in your financial records, so both of you know they exist and how to access them. Additionally, keep a small emergency cash fund at home for immediate needs. These simple steps can provide critical financial breathing room during one of life's most challenging transitions. Number 2. The beneficiary blind spot. One of the most devastating financial mistakes widows discover happens because of something that seems so minor: outdated beneficiary designations. What most people don't realize is that your will doesn't control who receives many of your most valuable assets. Retirement accounts, life insurance policies, and annuities all pass directly to whoever is named on the beneficiary form, regardless of what your will says. For widows, this can create a financial nightmare when they discover that accounts they thought would provide for their future are actually designated to go to someone else entirely. Perhaps your husband never updated the beneficiary on his 401k from a previous job, and it still lists his sister or even an ex-spouse. Maybe policies taken out decades ago name adult children as beneficiaries instead of you. These oversights can leave you with far less financial security than you expected exactly when you need it most. Think about how your financial situation would change if the retirement accounts or insurance policies you've been counting on suddenly went to someone else. Would you still have enough to live comfortably? For many widows, the answer is no, forcing them to drastically reduce their standard of living or even return to work in their 70s or 80s. To avoid this trap, schedule an annual financial date with your spouse to review all beneficiary designations together. Create a comprehensive list of every account, policy, and asset with a beneficiary designation. Check each one to ensure it reflects your current wishes, and keep this list updated whenever something changes. This simple yearly review can prevent profound financial hardship for the surviving spouse. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 3. The insurance gap catastrophe. One of the most unexpected financial shocks for widows comes from insurance, not just life insurance, but health, auto, and homeowners policies. Many couples don't realize that when one spouse dies, insurance coverage often changes dramatically, sometimes terminating altogether without warning. This can leave widows with skyrocketing premiums or worse, dangerous gaps in coverage exactly when their financial situation is most vulnerable. Health insurance is particularly treacherous. If you are covered under your husband's employer plan, you might suddenly find yourself scrambling for new coverage at precisely the time when your income has decreased. Medicare coverage can also change, especially supplemental policies that were part of a couple's package. Auto insurance rates frequently increase for widows, as companies often give discounts for married couples that disappear when you're suddenly single. The most dangerous aspect of this trap is that these changes often happen automatically and without clear notification. You might discover your coverage has changed only when you file a claim or pick up a prescription, creating additional stress and potential financial emergencies. Without adequate insurance coverage, a single health crisis or home repair could devastate your remaining financial resources. To protect yourself, create a complete inventory of all insurance policies, including exactly how each would change if either spouse dies. Contact each insurance provider and ask specifically about widower provisions. For health insurance, understand your COBRA rights if you are on your spouse's employer plan, and research Medicare options well in advance. For homeowners and auto insurance, ask about continuation policies and whether you qualify for other discounts to offset the loss of the married rate. Having this information before you need it gives you time to plan for alternative coverage and budget for potential premium increases. Number 4. The tax status surprise. When your filing status changes from married filing jointly to single after your spouse passes away, the financial impact can be staggering. Yet few couples ever discuss or prepare for this significant shift. What most widows don't realize is that this change often leads to what tax professionals call the widow's penalty, a sharp increase in tax rates that can substantially reduce your income just when you can least afford it. As a married couple, you enjoyed larger standard deductions and more favorable tax brackets. But once you file as single, your tax burden typically increases even though your income has likely decreased. For example, a widow with $60,000 in retirement income might pay thousands more in taxes than she did when filing jointly with the same income. This tax hit comes at precisely the wrong time, when you're already adjusting to living on reduced Social Security benefits and possibly reduced pension income. Some widows, like Eleanor, age 76, learned this lesson the hard way. After her husband Richard passed away, her income dropped by about 40%, but her tax bill only decreased by 15%. She hadn't planned for this discrepancy and suddenly found herself with significantly less disposable income than she had budgeted for. Meanwhile, her sister Margaret, who had consulted with a tax professional while her husband was still alive, implemented strategies like Roth conversions and charitable giving plans that helped minimize this tax impact when she became a widow. To protect yourself from this trap, meet with a tax professional to model what your tax situation would look like as a single filer. Consider strategic Roth IRA conversions while both spouses are alive to reduce required minimum distributions later. Look into qualified charitable distributions from IRAs which can reduce taxable income. And most importantly, build this potential tax increase into your widow contingency budget so you won't face financial shortfalls if you lose your spouse. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5. The home equity mistake. One of the most common yet devastating financial traps for widows involves their most valuable asset, their home. After decades of marriage, many couples have paid off their mortgage or accumulated substantial equity. But what most don't realize is that decisions about the home often become complicated and financially risky after one spouse dies. Many widows make the well-intentioned but potentially harmful decision to keep their family home at all costs, even when it no longer makes financial sense. The emotional attachment is completely understandable. The home holds decades of memories and represents stability during a time of immense change. But the financial reality can be harsh. Property taxes, insurance, utilities, and maintenance costs can quickly drain savings that were meant to last decades. The problem becomes even more acute when unexpected home repairs arise. A new roof, heating system, or other major repair can cost tens of thousands of dollars, money that many widows simply don't have available without digging into their long-term investments at the worst possible time. These forced withdrawals can trigger tax consequences and permanently reduce future income potential. What's the solution? Before making any permanent decisions about your home, take a full year to assess your true financial situation as a widow. During this time, carefully track every expense related to home ownership and maintenance. Compare this with alternatives like downsizing to a smaller home, moving to a lower tax area, or considering senior-focused communities. The right decision will balance emotional needs with financial realities. But this balance can only be found after the initial shock of grief has subsided and with a clear understanding of your complete financial picture. Remember, keeping your home shouldn't come at the expense of your financial security and independence in the decades ahead. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do with a family home is to let it go, using the equity to ensure your financial stability and peace of mind for years to come. Number 6. The financial management knowledge gap. Perhaps the most insidious financial trap for widows is one that develops over decades of marriage, but only reveals itself when it's too late. The financial management knowledge gap. In many marriages, especially for women now in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, one spouse, typically the husband, handled most or all of the financial matters. This division of labor might have seemed efficient during the marriage, but it creates dangerous vulnerability for the surviving spouse. Many widows suddenly find themselves needing to understand investments, tax planning, insurance, and estate matters at exactly the time when they're least emotionally prepared to learn. They must make critical financial decisions while grieving, often with little background knowledge and without the person they've relied on for decades. This creates the perfect conditions for poor decision-making, vulnerability to financial predators, and costly mistakes that can't be undone. What makes this trap particularly dangerous is that many widows don't even realize how much they don't know until they face a crisis. They may not know where all the accounts are located, what passwords are needed to access them, or even who to contact for help. Some discover that important financial documents are missing or outdated, creating additional complications when trying to settle the estate. The solution requires action before crisis strikes. Every couple should hold monthly financial meetings where both partners review accounts, discuss pending decisions, and update a shared financial organization system. Create a comprehensive in-case-of-emergency binder with account information, professional contacts, passwords, and important documents. And most importantly, both spouses should establish relationships with financial professionals while both are alive, ensuring continuity of advice and support during the transition to widowhood. This knowledge transfer isn't just about practical information, it's about building financial confidence. When both partners actively participate in financial management throughout marriage, the surviving spouse faces one less overwhelming challenge during an already difficult time. Final thoughts. As we wrap up this video, take a moment to reflect on these 6 financial traps that catch so many widows unprepared. The joint account shock that can freeze your money when you need it most. The beneficiary blind spot that can redirect assets away from the surviving spouse. The insurance gap catastrophe that leaves widows vulnerable when coverage changes. The tax status surprise that increases your tax burden exactly when your income decreases. The home equity mistake that drains resources meant to last decades. And finally, the financial management knowledge gap that forces widows to learn complex financial concepts during grief. Each of these traps shares something important in common. They can be avoided with preparation, communication, and planning. The key isn't just accumulating wealth during your marriage, but ensuring that those resources remain accessible, protected, and manageable for whichever spouse lives longer. Remember that women statistically live longer than men, with many spending 15 years or more as widows. This isn't about expecting the worst. It's about preparing for a statistical likelihood in a way that preserves dignity, independence, and financial security. The greatest gift couples can give each other isn't just the years they spend together, but the care they take to ensure the surviving spouse won't face financial hardship along with their grief. Small steps taken now: maintaining individual accounts, updating beneficiaries, understanding insurance policies, planning for tax changes, making wise housing decisions, and sharing financial knowledge can make an enormous difference in the financial security of a surviving spouse. These aren't just financial strategies. They're acts of love and care that extend beyond a lifetime together. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.